The Game Time Network is proudly sponsored by Matt Gaddis at State Farm. If you need help with car or renter's insurance, Matt Gaddis has you covered. And we are also powered by our friends at Wired to the Nines. For any low voltage needs, reach out to them via email at wiredtothenines@yahoo.com. And don't forget about our friends over at Bigsy Sports Grill. If you're looking for a great time and some great food, head over to Bigsy Sports Grill on Brookville Road in Indianapolis. Thank you to all our sponsors for supporting the Game Time Network. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Side by Side. We are coming to you under some interesting circumstances. Obviously, we've got a lot to talk about. I didn't really know how I wanted to open this episode. Me and Brandon talked about it middle of this week. Obviously the NASCAR community, the motorsports world, lost one of its greatest drivers this week, unexpectedly, in Kyle Busch. I started watching NASCAR when I was 3 years old. So, and all I knew was Kyle Busch, right? Kyle, Jimmy, Tony, Dale Jr. to be exact, Jeff Gordon, and Kyle, Denny, and probably Joey are kind of the last three of that wave from my timeline of being a NASCAR fan. And, I saw the tweet in the morning where they said Kyle was rushed to the hospital, but, it's kind of crazy when you see those types of tweets about a celebrity, you're concerned, but you're also kind of like numb to it, I guess, because you're like, oh, that's a celebrity. And, you think everything's going to be okay. Right. And when it's not okay, it comes as a shock. When I saw that, I couldn't believe it. It reminded me of when Kobe had the helicopter crash. I mean, I instantly, I was like, no, oh my gosh. Like I couldn't believe it. The first thing I didn't even think about was the Charlotte race. The first thing I thought about was Brexton. Just because, I've watched Brexton's YouTube where they're putting the car together for this week, and, I've seen clips of them, and obviously, just that was the first thing I thought of, and then I thought of Kurt. Obviously, I thought of his wife. He has a daughter as well, but the first person I really did think of was Brexton when I saw that tweet, because it's just, that's your mentor. Obviously that's your dad at the end. That's your dad as well, but right. It sucks. It really, really, really does suck. And I still can't believe it. It doesn't feel real still. Lot of tear-jerking moments this week. And then obviously Charlotte putting the 8 logo out on the field, which I appreciate. And then, I think the other person I feel for is Richard Childress. I'm not, there's a lot of Dale fans that are being really sensitive to what people are saying about Kyle Busch. But Kyle, this is a huge loss for the sport. And I just, people are asking on social media, is this similar to how people felt when Dale passed? And a lot of people agree. I wasn't born in 2001, so I can't say yes, but, if this is how people felt, I feel, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. I'll answer your first part first, because I was 16 when Dale Earnhardt died at Daytona. I was watching that race with my dad, and he crashed. You knew obviously something was going on, whatever. And then it was like, and that race probably ended around 5:30, and it wasn't until like 7 something when they came out with it. So no social media, no nothing really. They kind of went off the air. And then it wasn't until like the internet blew up about it, or like the news. So I will say there are some similarities that I feel between that death and Kyle's a little bit. But with difference, obviously, Dale's was, both were unexpected, but Dale's was racing, Kyle's was not. But it does feel like the days after, a huge void is missing in the sport. Like part of the sport has died. if you could say. Kyle was generational talent. You were never on the fence. You either liked him or you
Or
hated
you
him,
didn't.
right? I think I went both ways over the years with him. There's times I couldn't stand him.
Yep.
Then there's days I liked him. So it was kind of which way is the wind blowing today. But overall, I mean, you can't say dude wasn't a great racer. Obviously, the most career wins is everybody's over the last few days. Everybody's talking about the accolades, the number of races he's won over all three series, the most all time combined between all three series. You feel for the wife, Samantha. She's a Purdue graduate, from here in Indiana as well, and Brexton, and then they have a little daughter as well. For Brexton, I think I do have some. What's the word I'm looking for? Solace, or I guess that maybe not be the word, but I do feel some relaxed that this NASCAR community is going to take care of him. And help with his growth and his development. And I forget how old he is now. I think he's he's got to be close to 8, 9, 10.
I think they said 11.
11, yeah. So we're 5 years away from the dude possibly being able to run stock himself.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about the possibility of another generational type of talent, possibly. I mean, that's a lot to live up to be like your dad, right? It doesn't always work that way. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Dale Earnhardt Sr., Kyle Petty, Richard Petty. So we'll see what happens with all that. I do feel for the family, obviously the community. It was very somber this morning on Twitter when they unloaded the car. With all the race teams just stopped there watching it, letting that be the first one to roll off. And man, it sucks. It's a gloomy weekend in Charlotte. I don't know if they're going to get any racing really in this weekend just because of the weather, but I think it's called for. I understand it's Coke 600. It's one of your milestone races, and Kyle would want the race to go on as well. But I think having the weather the way it is, I think it's a good thing.
It threw me for such a loop.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I didn't really have time to react to it
and he's the same age as me. We were born 2 months apart.
Yeah.
So,
and it's the same thing. It's kind of just similar to Kobe, just what he would have done after he was out of the car for the sport. We'll never know, right? You look at how much of an impact Denny has made on the sport, and Denny was not well liked a couple of years ago. Kyle wasn't that well liked a couple of years ago.
No,
and now he's probably
one of the fans' have gotten less and less. By the way,
and I think what I also think about was just the off season, right? There was a possibility maybe he goes to Spire, maybe he goes to Hendrick. It looked like Jordan Bianchi said he would probably stay at Richard Childress. And I don't think people have talked about it a lot is Richard Childress. This is a second generational driver you've had to handle this type of situation in, and they've always done a great job at doing it. They're not using the number 8 this weekend. They're going to hold it for Brexton, which is a very class act by Richard Childress Racing.
It's just the earliest contract ever, too.
Yeah. It just, you can only imagine. I mean, Richard Childress, he's a stand-up guy. You can only, and the community. I think you make a great point about the community as well. Very somber week, for sure, and it just threw everybody for a loop. And I think it just always reinstates, no matter what you got going on with family, talk to them, give them a call once in a while. You never know when you wake up, somebody may not be there. So, I mean, it's always a reminder.
Yeah. And I was out on the golf course when it first came out and seeing it. And first, the some of the tweets I was getting at first when I first looked at my notifications saying Kurt Busch. And I was like, the hell? And then it said correction, Kyle Busch. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, it's one of those double takes. You look at your phone, like, what the? And then it's like, all right, now I got to fact check like 50 different ways.
I turned on my phone, saw it, turned it back off. I said, no, it's not real. And then I turned it on, flipped and went back, saw it was from NASCAR, and I had to do a double take, and I like told my boss, I was like, my mom's calling me, I gotta go. Like I lied and walked off because I couldn't believe it, and I was like, I had to lie real quick, and I was like, my mom's calling me, I gotta step away.
And that's the way, and you're gonna remember this forever because I remember exactly where I was with the Kobe situation.
And I remember Kobe. My brother called me and he was like, "You're not." He was worried to tell me because I mean, Kobe is what I don't have it back there right now, but I mean, I've got a 2010 Lakers NBA Finals jersey with the patch on it, and that's what made me a Lakers fan was that series. And so I mean, it just Kyle was not my favorite, but I respected what he did. I never hated Kyle Busch. I when he would win, it wasn't like the end of the world to me, but it also wasn't like I wasn't super excited. I wasn't when I was little. It was cool to see him win the 2015 title. I know a lot of people have their opinions on that title, but those don't matter anymore.
Yep.
But I think that's probably one of my greatest memories is how dominant he was in that 2015 season, and then ultimately winning the championship. And then obviously the season he had in 2018 with Truex and Harvick, where those three were just winning everything, are probably my two biggest memories of Kyle Busch. I know he's got the 2019 title as well, but I wasn't watching the sport as much then.
It's just wild how crazy it all developed very quickly. Obviously, the Watkins Glen wasn't feeling the greatest. Doctor, okay. Fast forward, 5 days later to Friday night trucks. Yep. Dover gets the win. The eerie thing is, what he said. You never know when it's going to be your last, so cherish it up, right? And then Tuesday, and I actually just ran into Mario Andretti yesterday. He was at a thing with Marco and Mario Andretti on Tuesday for a new go-kart track down in Durham, North Carolina. Yeah. Looked healthy, looked fine, everything looked good.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday, that's where it somehow took a downhill turn quickly. Yeah. And then I don't want to speculate. I have my ideas what it could have been, just based off the symptoms that we're seeing come out and stuff. But man, it's one of those unknowns right now. It's a shock to the system, shock to the sports world. You have some of these that rock you every few years or so, and this is definitely one. And as you said to me on the phone, you don't know just sometimes how big the sport is and its far reaches.
And that's exactly what I was going to say.
Go ahead.
And it was like I said, Kyle, Hamlin, and Logano felt like this is the last wave, in my opinion, of those uberly popular NASCAR drivers, Jimmy, Jeff, Dale. I think from the 80s to the 2010s, those are the most popular drivers ever. They were in every commercial. Like for me, I remember the Martin Truex Jr. and Michael Waltrip Napa Know-How commercial, Logano's Home Depot commercial, Jimmy's Lowe's commercial. Rowdy had plenty of M&M's commercials, right? I said it to my stepdad, who hasn't watched the sport in years, really left after Dale had passed away. And I said that M&M's paint scheme is a top 5 NASCAR paint scheme. Like, I think the good wrench number 3 is always first. There's no question. I would say the DuPont is number 2. Rainbow Warriors Jeff, but you can't tell me that the M&M's 18 isn't somewhere in that top 5.
Put a tickler file in there on this. That on one episode or so, we'll do our top 10 schemes.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely do that.
I like that. You're right.
I mean, and a little bit of bias. This is in my top 5 as well.
It's in mine. It's mine as well. Sure.
And it just, to kind of reinforce, it just kind of shows how popular the sport is. Ryan McGee was on the Pat McAfee show, and he said when he covers F1, Max Verstappen would ask about Kyle Busch because you knew Kyle Busch was a racer, and it just shows how popular Kyle Busch was. I didn't realize. I knew how popular Kyle Busch was, and how popular some of the guys were, but I didn't really know how popular Kyle Busch was. I mean, there was celebrities that I didn't even knew who Kyle Busch was. That reached out, had their condolences. I think the MLB put out a tweet, WWE put out a tweet, and then there was just certain people that put out tweets that I didn't realize knew Kyle Busch. And I think it just goes to show how much of an impact he had on the sport, and how much, as later on he got into his career, how much he went out and promoted the sport as well, especially as more of the popular figures started to retire.
To be honest, I would rather, and I know Richard Childress did the gesture, and that's great for the 8 and all that, and we're suspending the 8 and whatever. But I would rather have Brexton go into the 18 car number, even if Richard can buy that number from Joe Gibbs Racing. It's inactive, so maybe he could buy it from him or not. But I'd rather him be in there, or if you don't and he stays in the 8, I think NASCAR, you retire the 18.
Yeah.
This is not just another, and I've seen the tweets and stuff. This isn't just, this is another racer that passed away tragically too young and stuff. Like,
it's not. Yeah.
It's polarizing for what he did for the sport, not just his antics, not just the rubbing that he did wrong, but where he wanted to get the sport, where it came from, and what he was able to put his thumbprint on for this sport. And the fact that he has the most successful driver across all 3 major series in racing of NASCAR, Xfinity, O'Reilly, everyone call it, and the truck series. That is something for this sport. And I don't know if you will see that ever again, somebody that dominant across all 3 types of vehicles.
Yeah. And I remember Kyle talking about wanting to possibly run trucks full time after his Cup Series career, just because he wanted to get that championship. And now we'll never see that. I was excited to watch him maybe run trucks with Brexton at one point. There was a lot of things that I was excited to see Kyle do, and it's unfortunate we'll never see him. I read a couple of the drivers' posts. Hocevar had a really good post about him. Austin Dillon had a really touchy post about him. Just an interesting week. We wanted to start the video with KB. Obviously we are going to talk about the Indy 500. I don't know if I want to even put Kyle Busch in the thumbnail, Brandon, just because I don't want to put remembering Kyle Busch plus Indy 500 preview. It feels a little, so I'll talk to you about it once we're done with the show. Just want to, be able to respect Kyle Busch, but also we do have one of the biggest races of the year to cover. And I want to find that balance. So we'll talk about it then, but I want to give you the floor for the Indy 500. This was a race Kyle Busch wanted to run. He almost got approval in an interview a couple of years ago, but Joe Gibbs told him no. And then I think he had it set up again. He had it set up again. And then they gave it to Kyle Larson because Larson said he would try it twice. But looking at the Indy 500, I know for both races, the Coca-Cola 600 and the Indy 500, weather isn't looking the best. But give us a rundown. Like I said, I like IndyCar. It isn't I don't know. This is probably the least information I have on the 3 motorsports that we cover, but I've gotten better this year because I've watched it a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all good. I have no problem. This is one of my crown jewels. I'm 41 years old. I think I started going to the Indy 500 race. Oh, what was my first one? I think my first one was 92 or so, and I was 8. So, and then I've only missed a handful. But, this Sunday, tomorrow, if you're watching this here on Saturday evening, as this goes out, tomorrow, Indy 500. The weather is going to be dicey up here, guys. I've seen several things as of data and a lot of really reliable sources, data that there's some windows. I thought for a bit, and there was data showing that we could get the race in tomorrow, but that there is that gap. It's looking like there's a small chance early in the morning for some showers tomorrow, and then around 1 o'clock or so, as the race is going to be starting at 12:45, 2 o'clock, there could be some heavy boomers coming in, but it's supposed to allegedly clear out between 4 and 5, Problem is 2.5 hours or so to drive that track. You don't have the ideal conditions of sun, the warm wind. You'll have humidity. I don't know if that gives us enough, and NASCAR or IndyCar is wanting to say, "Hey, let's just get to 100 laps and that's it." They want to get the full thing in. So I think we get to maybe they get to 30, 40, 50 laps and they stop it and run it on Monday. But I honestly think they may just. I'm going tomorrow. It sucks that I don't want it to the rain and delay it, but I don't feel good as of now. I just watched the latest forecast before we did this show. I don't feel comfortable now with what the forecast is showing. I'm hopeful, but we'll see. But the breakdown, we kind of talked about it previously. I did my tier list. We just had Carb Day yesterday. The big news from the week, early in the week, was the Alexander Rossi pedal award crash on Monday. Rossi did have to have some little bit of outpatient surgery done for his middle finger, which he likes to throw jokingly out a lot, as James Hinchcliffe said on the telecast yesterday, and then also his leg, he's not going to be able to walk for a bit. They said so he's limping and he's going to be in that race car.
How is he going to be able to push the pedal if his foot's not?
They have special things that they're adding to his car.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
yeah,
makes sense. It's kind of like they did Danny Sullivan back in the early 90s when he had a broken arm and they had a cast on it that they cut part of the steering wheel out so his hand could rest easily for turning using that thing. It was crazy. But yeah, so he's him. Pato, I think, is going to be fast still. I do like what I saw yesterday from him. A lot of race trim practice for him. Pato did do, now he wasn't the fastest, but it's not about being the fastest, it's about your race trim. I mean, 58 laps yesterday, 224 average speed just for race trim. I like it. The fastest was Joseph Newgarden, 228. I think that had a toe speed with it, so that's a little bit of a draft. And he only ran 55 laps there. Rasmussen was second, and then David Malukas. This race, and here's another thing. I think if you get it out there, and you get over 100, we get over 100 laps tomorrow, then it may be a fuel save type thing until the rain comes, right? Maybe it's one of those, or till darkness. We got darkness, and NASCAR. You remember a few years ago in the race, they had to call it for darkness, that they shortened it up because there was just so many yellows during that point. I don't know what Indy will do. We'll see. But overall, I gave you my tiers. I had Newgarden, McLaughlin, Pato, Palou, and I had Dixon in there. I do like Dixon. Yesterday, they brought it up on the telecast. I didn't know if they'd see it because I was watching his telemetry. They were doing a lot of fuel saving and seeing how far they can run on fuel saving mode. I think that's a secret thing that Dixon, them, and his strategists like to do. You got to watch for him, man. Something tells me if it gets in that fuel saving mode that they're practicing it already for Sunday in case with the rain. I like it. Santino Ferrucci, man, 7 races, 7 Indy 500s. He's finished in the top 10, all 7 top 10, which is a phenomenal thing. So I think he's going to have himself another awesome top 10 run. He finished 5th 2 years ago and 3rd 4 years ago. So I like him. Obviously, Palou is the
favorite
head of the table. Plus 250 is crazy for racing odds. Plus 250, right? And rightfully so. He's been dominant. He's been the most dominant. He's your pole sitter. Joseph Newgarden, I put some money on him as well. McLaughlin and Newgarden were my 2 guys I put the most money on with Team Penske. The guy that has won the Monday practice, the fastest on that last Monday practice, the last 2 years has gone on to win the race. It was Newgarden 2 years ago. It was Palou last year. This year, it was Joseph Newgarden again, the fastest on Monday. I know he didn't qualify the greatest, but it's not about where you start. It's about where you finish. And he started last year and worked his way all the way up before his pit stop issue. So
you haven't said this name yet. When I went in 2021 on my only Indy 500, he got the win. Helio starts 14th. I know he hasn't had the most speed, but I'm not going to count him out, man. I'm not going to count Helio out. I got a little soft spot for him since I saw him win a couple years ago. But I mean, Palou is definitely one that I'll be looking out for. Rossi's right there in second. But I would say for me, Pillow, Malukas, and O'Ward are probably my three. And then Helios kind of my fourth, my wild card right there. So.
Yeah, I'm going. If I go away from like the Pillow being a 250, it's Newgarden, McLaughlin, and O'Ward. Those top three, right?
Yeah.
And people have asked, well, give me some dark horses that you're going to bet on. Give me like a couple names that just stick out to you that you have a shot. I'll give you a couple.
Okay.
David Malukas, obviously another Team Penske car, but the former Will Power car, he is fast. He has gotten better at ovals. There is just something about this kid. He was third fastest yesterday. Something about this kid. If he gets himself in the right situation here late, I kind of like his chances. And being obviously for the dominant Team Penske, that helps you out, right? Now he's got that right. And then the other one, dark horse. After I said Ferrucci, obviously with the top tens with his thing, but I like. Hey, what can Felix Rosenqvist do? Right? He's been fast. He's been a pole sitter. He's been up there. He's had a few issues here and there, but you want another dark horse? Maybe Felix Rosenqvist, right? And a lot of people, I'll say it again, we talked about fuel saving yesterday. Not a lot of people are talking about Scott Dixon, the former winner, 2008. I'm talking about him, man. There's something about when you don't talk about the dude, he always creeps up. He's like the boogeyman. So, yeah, that's. I know I just gave like six racers, but those are my six I really do like because really, I mean, Connor Daly's a great story. I would love to see Connor Daly win. He's got a fast car. We'll see what happens. He had the fast car last year too. Rossi, we need to see coming off that injury, and that way. But yeah, it's looking forward to the race, man. If it's tomorrow or if it's Monday, whatnot, definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I hope it's tomorrow. I work Monday, so I'm really hoping they can get it in tomorrow. Coke 600. I'm looking forward to that. Should be a good race. Hocevar looked real good last year in that race. Chastain won the race though.
Yeah.
I don't really have a prediction for that one because it looks like it's not going to happen. But I mean, same thing for the Indy 500. I'm excited for both. We haven't talked a lot of F1, but I think we all know why. Probably Mercedes and Antonelli.
I got my prediction for the Coke.
Who is it?
William Byron.
Okay.
Since 2023, they're at Charlotte. They've had 3 races. So, they had three races, 2023, 24, 25. 3 races, 3 top 5s. Lowest finish was 3rd place the last 3 years at Charlotte. So, give me William Byron. Complete the win finally. The average finish is 2.3.
That's a good pick. I'm going to go Hocevar. He had a great run last year. I'm hoping he can find some magic again on Sunday. We'll see if the race happens. Looking forward to both. Brandon, any last words you want to get out before we call it?
No, looks a great weekend for racing if we can get them both in. It's one of the premier racing weekends. And then as well as condolences side by side. Our first one we've had to do on a show already in our early existence, but lots of prayers to Kyle Busch, his family, NASCAR community. We'll get through this, and tough void that it's gonna be tough to fill.
For sure. We lost Greg Biffle a couple months ago, and that one really bothered me. And this one hurts for sure, folks. Like Brandon said, condolences to Kyle Busch's family. Thinking of them, obviously Richard Childress as well. And then obviously, enjoy the weekend. It's obviously been a tough week. It's still going to be tough for the next couple of days and probably weeks as well. But like Brandon said, that's the good thing about motorsports. Everyone comes together in times like this. So we got to continue to stay strong. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of Side by Side. We'll see you guys next week.